Number 1.
Hey everybody, it is Sarah with I Talk to Notebooks, and please pardon my nails, I need to redo them, but I wanted to pop in because this week I want to give you guys a video about my first journal ever, this puppy right here, or should I say horsey. I wanted to go through my past journals, do quick flip throughs, because I want to show how my journaling style has evolved. I think that's a really interesting part of the journaling process, is seeing how things change over time. And I've been journaling for well over a decade, so a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't. So let's just hop right in here. This journal, as you can see, has a lot going on the cover, and it actually has several layers. So originally it was a gift, and it just had the normal cover, and I put my name on it. And then I added horse stickers because, yes, I was a horse girl. And then I put on, for a camping trip I was going on, I wanted to take my journal with me because I have to have my journal with me, so I put this piece of masking tape on, advising people to stay away from it, and I don't think it was particularly effective, A, because nobody wanted to actually read it in the first place, and B, because my one friend, who happened to be a little bit nosy, did seem intrigued by this piece of tape. I don't think she read it, but it still is not a good idea to write this, and I think deep down I kind of knew that and wanted to be that mysterious kid with the journal with a warning on it, but nobody actually cared. And then later I wanted to name all my journals. I haven't done this for all of them, just the first few, and this one was more positive than many of my later journals was, so I named it All Good Things, and here's the date range. 2007 to 2009. Yes, I was not a frequent writer back in those days. 2 years, and then even later than that, I wanted to number them all with golden stickers. Number 1. Haven't done this for all of them either because some of them have been very beautiful leather gifts from people, well, one person who is very dear to my heart, and I don't want to ruin that with these literal dollar store stickers and scotch tape. But for the other ones, I will number them with the golden stickers. So let's just hop right in. I've got some stuff censored, as you can see, with sticky notes, and I'm also using paper clips to help me censor things. And that's because, even though this was over a decade ago, still haven't changed that much, and a lot of the cringy stuff is still pretty reflective of my cringy personality. So right on the inside front cover, I wrote my warning about snooping, and of course I had to fill it with shiny insect stickers because they're awesome. And I jumped right in with no date, tragically, and began introducing myself as a 10-year-old writing an autobiography, and began listing my cast of characters, aka my friends. And it's really interesting to read the friends I wrote about. A lot of them were people I wasn't really friends with. Most of them I'm still in touch with and see on a regular basis, but the 2 people I write about the most in all of my childhood journals have moved away. One of them is married, and I don't think we were ever friends. So it was really weird to think how close I felt that I was with those people, and to look back and be like, you were completely deluded. So it's interesting. All right, so I'm talking about Easter, flipping all those pages, and awesome. So I start talking about a time I went to the swimming pool and there was a slug in the pool, so I took it out, doing a favor for the lifeguard. And here's a diagram of the slug and how his little feelers would retract when the water hit him. Very adorable. I thought that was the cutest thing. And you may notice that even at the age of 10, I would refer often to stuffed animals and, as you will see, other inanimate objects as my best friend or my friend, because I had a giant hole in my heart that I wanted to fill. And now I think I've moved past that. But really, have I? The world may never know. Here's a basketball that I got. It had grips all over it. And here's a swimming suit that I got. And it's not a helpful drawing because there's no color. So that's the style. Easter, more Easter stuff. These are called journal tattoos. My mom's best friend mailed these to me. I cannot find them anywhere, and I want to because they are the most incredible stationery supply I've ever heard of. If any of you guys know where to find these, please drop a comment because I really want to use these again. First of all, look at how bright these colors are. This is literally from over a decade ago, and they haven't faded at all. The pencil marks have faded. These have not. Additionally, they don't come off or peel off the way that stickers do because it's like you lay them down on the page and you trace around them with like a stylus. Like you could use a pen with it, the tip retracted, but it came with the stylus and it would transfer onto the page. So the only way you could get it off is to like really scrape at it. You can't peel it off. So it's really like, I don't know, I can't really show you, but it was really interesting and different. And here I went to my first concert of a band of kids playing that were my age, and I would later join this band, and it's cool to see that I really liked it even before I was playing it. Alright, that I should probably skip. And here we are again talking about a trip to Missouri to see my relatives. July 18th, who knows what year it was? I don't know. So I referred to my journal as, don't worry, we'll get to this in a second, that whole disaster. I referred to my journal as Snoopy because whoever is reading it is a Snoop. I was so clever. So I would draw Snoopy and make references to Snoopy a lot. And this is blood. I got a paper cut and I thought, you know what would be cool to see in 10 plus years is what my blood was in 2007. Do I think that's cool now? Yes. Yes, I do. Here's my brother's contribution. He was, I think, 4, and he had better handwriting than I did, so I'm going to give him props for that. Oh, this End SCB thing, I used to read these things called, like, the American, something diaries, the Royal Diaries. They had the Golden Spine. You guys know what I'm talking about. The library had them, and one of the girls would always end her entries with End in her initials, so I thought that was so cool, and I had to do it, but it didn't stick. And, of course, here are some diagrams of some creatures I invented. Well, this is just a Unipeg. A Unipeg, I think is what these are called, so I didn't invent that. But this is a leopard with gemstone eyeballs and a very long mane and tail like a horse. And I would write all kinds of stories and documents about these things. I mean, I could show you guys. I was prolific, okay? This was my childhood. Anyway, oh, look, I'm telling the journal that it's my new best friend. Pathetic. Here are some comics about a character known as the Ball, and he looked like Pac-Man. So, Ball, can you really jump higher than a house? Yup, houses can't jump. The Ball was truly ahead of his time in terms of comedy, and he mainly saved the gumballs and the super balls in the vending machines who were trapped there against their will and sold into slavery, or death, being eaten. And his superpower was shooting lasers all over the place. And I really thought it was cool because I would have them like bounce off the edges of the page, and to me it felt like I was creating this world in the notebook. And I was. Okay, so then I saw a comedian who I was obsessed with. He was a ventriloquist. I was into ventriloquism. We exchanged emails. He was a small-time Christian comedian, and he signed my journal when I went to see him live, and I was ecstatic. You don't even want to know how many pages I skipped of me just like freaking out, idol worshiping this guy. And he performed with another guy who I was less enthusiastic about, but I did get his signature as well. So here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spreads of, well, maybe 4 spreads, come to think of it, of just paragraph form sermon notes, which are completely unintelligible to read back. You'll see here that I noted down, "This pastor talks fast." I've never had any success taking sermon notes in my journal. It just doesn't come back as something that I can get anything out of in retrospect. But at least I tried. And here is my first poem of all time, which is cool because poetry is still a huge part of my journaling efforts and always has been. And it was never something I was particularly thought of myself as being a poet, but I would always write poetry because I liked doing it. And it never became part of my identity. I just did it. And even now, it's like, oh yeah, I do that. That's like I forget it's something I do. So here it is. I love cards like a friend, though I'm not one to bet. The truth is plain, night or day. I love the clarinet. Sometimes my mouth gets tired and I run out of breath. Anyway, I love to play. I love the clarinet. From battleship to boggle, 9 o'clock to 10, I'll grab a reed and play no heed. I love the clarinet. As you can see, I should have a collection published by Penguin House. Penguin? I don't know the name of the publisher. But it makes a lot of sense, and it's completely coherent, and it's really art. So you're welcome for sharing that with you at no charge. All right, and here on page 94, I added these page numbers many years later. This poor journal. It's like $1. It needs to be retired. I spent 1, 2, 3, 4 spreads describing in excruciating detail how to play this game called Peanuts. Now, this game is Dutch Blitz, is what it is. It's Dutch Blitz with a deck of regular cards. However, at the time, neither my parents nor I were aware that Dutch Blitz was a game that existed, so we thought that Peanuts was the only version, and we didn't know anyone else who had ever played it. My parents had never met anyone else who knew how to play this game, so I was concerned that if our family bloodline died out, nobody would know how to play this game and it would disappear into the sands of time. So I thought I'd better write down all the rules because it's so fun, so someone else centuries later could discover this journal, and it would of course be completely legible, as you can see it already is, and they would be able to play the game even though we were dead. I think people know how to play Dutch Blitz, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how to translate it into a regular deck of cards. Moving right along. What the heck is this? Oh, my clarinet audition. Didn't go well. They never did. But it's interesting to read about. Next, I drew a mermaid because, of course, I drew a mermaid. I think this is really beautiful. As you can see, I was quite excellent at drawing hands, and heads. Heads were good too, but mainly the hands were my real strong point. Next, I used to exchange coded messages with a friend, and I think it's really interesting to see how my friendships were back then because we were always working towards something. Like, when I look back at friendships that I perceived as being particularly close, it wasn't a friendship like I have now where you will meet at a cafe and you will talk about your life for an hour and walk away having accomplished really not a whole lot besides sharing each other's updates. And at this time, we would do projects together, we would play games together, we would write stories together, exchange coded messages. This was like a club thing we did. Look for messages behind the middle school blackboard. It was so exciting. And, but also even in high school, I had a couple of friends and we wrote a story together and we were building this world together, and it was just this incredible feeling of creating something. And even though I didn't know that much about them, I felt so much closer with them than anyone else because we were doing something together. And I've just observed that a lot even currently, that it's hard to find people to do stuff with as I get older, so that closeness is kind of difficult to find. And finally, I got a set of Crayola Super Tips. I know those are still popular in the journaling community, so I knew I had to share this, but instead of writing beautiful, impossible to form calligraphy letters, I drew these pictures called, I think it was Alice and Emma? I can't remember. I named them, but there was a black girl and a white girl, and they hung out and went places together. And I thought that was so cute and idyllic, and I really loved drawing them. And then here at the end, I reassured the journal or the reader or somebody that moving into a new notebook won't be that scary, because I know that this inanimate object is worried. My brother liked to sign off as well. And here's a picture of Snoopy and Woodstock. I tagged myself as Woodstock and the journal reader as Snoopy, and I thought that was really, really clever. And I'm sure you think we're done now, but actually we are not, because look, more horses! Ha! So, anyway, that's journal number 1. And I'm going to do the rest of these at some point. I don't know if it's going to be every video from here on out. I have no idea. Point is, I'm going to do it. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't, because you're going to miss out. And why would you want to miss out on these fascinating pieces of history? You don't, okay? And let me just tell you guys that if any of you have journaling channels where you do flip-throughs or tips or journal with me's or anything journaling, not bullet journaling, this kind of journaling, please drop a link in the comments, because I am looking so desperately for non-bullet journal-related channels, because I really love the stuff and I want to meet people in the community and become an active member. So let me know, guys, okay? Bye.